Well, today should be a fun one. We're talking about how much money you should put in your 401k if you're in your 20s. Listen up, I think you're gonna love the answer.
'Cause we're gonna be legends. What we're doing here ain't just scary. It's about to be legendary.
So today, as we get started on this conversation about how much money you should be putting into your 401k, I want to start by sharing with you why people contribute to a 401k, why it even exists, where it came from, and then I want to actually get real with you and share the math of how much good it's actually going to do you, as well as what are your alternatives? Do you have to invest in a 401k, or are there smarter things that you can do with your money? So why do people actually put money into a 401k in the first place? You know, there's some reasons why people just love their 401k. I mean, imagine you get out of college, you're shopping for the company that you want to work for, and that company wants you to feel as comfortable as possible, and they want you to feel like they're investing in your future. So beyond just a paycheck, they're going to actually help set some money aside for you. Let me actually show you what that looks like. Number one, they're going to promise you this thing called a match, which basically says up to a certain percent, maybe 3, 4, 5% every year, whatever you put in, they're gonna put the same amount in. And what they're thinking is, I could give this to you in the form of a salary, but you know what? For us, a 401k is a little bit like golden handcuffs, meaning we're building it, we're contributing. We hope that you don't wanna go anywhere. We hope you see this perk as something that can become something someday. So the match is definitely a reason why a lot of people will do this. A lot of people will do it because they love the idea of a forced savings account. Bottom line is, in our world today, there are very few people that actually like to budget, believe it or not. It's not fun, it's not exciting. People want to spend their money, and so they don't always trust themselves to do the right thing. So that 401k feels like, hey, the money is automatically being taken out. I'm not aware of it. I don't treat it like it's my spendable income. I'm saving money. So there's a good feeling. But I think, unfortunately, one of the third things that ends up happening is that people are doing it because everyone else is. There's this social pressure, and it's the social thing to do. And oh, your 401k, how long have you been here? What's that grown to? What's happening in the market? These are some of the reasons why I think people invest in their 401ks. Just for a moment, ask me what I think about that. Ask me how you think I feel about 401ks. If you're new to the channel, then this is going to be news to you. If it's not, you're like, yep, here it comes. Waboom! I'm going to tell you right now that the biggest problem with the 401k is that this is your last little bit of discretionary income. You're locking it in a place that what happens if you try to touch this money? You get penalized. Number two, you get immediately taxed. And so people say, I'm afraid I shouldn't touch my 401k. If I touch it, all these bad things are going to happen. They're thinking, I've been at my job now 10 years, so I've accumulated $100,000, and I only make $60,000 a year or $80,000 a year. If I take that out, first there's going to be a 10% penalty. So 10% on 100 grand is $10,000 gets flushed away. And what about the rest of the 90 grand? Well, this year my $80,000 of income plus my $90,000, that's going to bump me into a new tax bracket. If my tax bracket has me paying 25% taxes, that's another $23,000 that you can go ahead and kiss goodbye. So people are saying, wait a second. Why would I ever want to take my 401k money out? That's like $33,000 that just gets flushed right out of the gate. Oh, that hurts. It's painful. And as a result, to avoid the pain, people will stay in their 401k. Now, I want to share with you what goes down. When you're in your 20s, you're putting money in your 401k and you're feeling proud and you're forcing savings. When you're in your 30s, you're distracted by life and relationships and social scenes and maybe kids. But by the time you get in your 40s and 50s, something happens. You start shifting. You start realizing, hey, I was in the summer of my life, and now it says I'm moving into the fall, and I should start preparing for that. What if I actually set aside and actually saved for my retirement? And now I'm going to share with you, my friends, the ugly reality of the 401k. What sounded kind of fun and exciting at first, most people, let's just say for a moment that you've saved $150,000 in your 401k and you've been contributing for 20 years. First of all, your 401k at best has probably been earning you around 4% on your money. Now, you know what the rule of 72 is. The rule of 72 basically says you can take the number 72 and divide it by the interest rate of anything that you're earning, and it's going to tell you how many years it's going to take to double your money. If you take 72 and divide it by 4, it's going to take you 18 years to double your money. What's the problem with that? First of all, if you double your money, that's not enough money anyway to retire on. You've got to double it and then double it and then double it and then double it, and then you might have enough. 18 freaking years, I'm never going to get where I want to go. But most of you treat your 401k like it's your parachute. It's what you're going to use to protect yourself. Maybe you put some money in an IRA. I hate these vehicles. I hate 401ks. I hate IRAs. I get irate about them because when you're in your 20s, you think you're being smart. When you're 30s, you're distracted. When you're in your 40s and 50s, you start to panic. When you're 50s and 60s, you start saying, I'm doing the math. Why didn't someone tell me 30 years earlier I was going to be screwed if I did this thing? So I get a little upset about it because I'm like, time. What are you really wasting as you're wasting time? So now I'm going to say something really renegade that a lot of you are not going to enjoy hearing, but I'm going to say it anyway. What should you do? Well, if you have a 401k from a current employer, it's hard to get out. I know a handful of people that have been able to do it. Most of the time, though, you can only access a 401k from previous employment. Let's just assume for a moment that you have $100,000 sitting in a 401k from a previous job. You got your $100,000 and you're thinking, okay, I watched Kris's video. I don't want my life to pass by and not take my money that I should be investing and growing with, because a 401k is not an investment. 4%, are you kidding me? Inflation is 3%. You're going nowhere. You're doing nothing. It's pure lameness at its like maximum. So you're like, I need to follow Kris' advice. I need to get my hands on some of his double-digit returns on his real estate that he's doing, or find out how to do that myself. So all of a sudden you're like, I'm going to take that 100 grand out. Watch what happens here. You're going to have a 10% penalty. Do you know what I call that? Not a penalty. That's called a cost of business, because you made the choice to put it in there and there was always going to be a penalty to get it out before that age. Then you're going to say, well, Kris, what if I have to pay 20% in taxes? Listen carefully. You can't avoid the taxes. You don't want to either. You're going to have to pay them no matter what, which means that if there is a 30% flush, then you're only going to keep $70,000 of it. Remember, the $20,000 in taxes was always going to get paid. The 10% is the only thing that you can ruffle your feathers over and just chalk it up as a decision that you made when you were younger and you didn't know any different. The bottom line is that $70,000 can be used to go and buy 2 properties. These 2 properties can start paying you a cash flow right away. You can actually start making money. And if you're following my system and earning 20-25% annual ROI, not 4%, remember on that 4%, I said that it was going to take 18 years to double. Do you remember that? Well, guess what? If I take 75 and divide it by 25, do you know what I actually get for the rule of thumb, 7 divided by 25%? Is I actually get 2.88 years. Now question, if you were doubling your money every 3 years, would that be better than 18 years? Heck yes. Is it worth the tax and penalty? You're going to make it up so quickly. So yes, get your money out and actually get it productive and doing something. I would love in this video to give you the solution, but the reality is this video has almost come to an end. That's why I made another one for you. In the next video, I talk about the economic collapse. The reality is you have to control your financial destiny. You can't put it in the hands of government. You can't put it in the hands of your boss. Please don't put it in a 401k or an IRA. When you say, how much money should I contribute in my 401k when I'm in my 20s or 30s? Well, in your 20s, the real answer, in my opinion, 0. But in your 30s, you should actually put in 0. But when you're in your 40s or 50s, that's when I would actually probably just consider putting in nothing. Like, don't ever put money in a stupid vehicle that actually can't get you where you want to go. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. So this next video is going to talk about the economic collapse. It's talking about what's shifting the economy. And you need to understand that when there's blood in the streets, there's opportunity. The greatest wealth transfer in the world is taking place right now. The baby boomers are actually giving and sharing their wealth, and there's opportunities for you to grow and get somewhere like never before. The real estate opportunities are boundless. Right now, my sector of single family, in the next decade, it's going to go from 70% ownership to 54% ownership, which means a shift in people wanting rentals, exactly what I can show you how to do. So you're on the verge of one of the best opportunities, but you need to understand the collapse that's looming and what it's actually going to mean, and the $20+ trillion worth of debt and how it's going to stack, but how you can profit through it. Winter is coming, my friend, and when it does, you have an opportunity to make a great financial life for yourself. But you're going to need some seed capital. You know where that seed capital is going to come from? I believe it should come from your 401k and your IRA. So check out this next video, and then at the end of that, check out the description. There's more information on how you can get in the game of real estate and business and ultimately control your own financial future and create the life of your dreams. Catch you on that next video.